No, I do.
We're gonna make this as quick as possible to try to get as much done as we can tonight. If we have any news to partake of, well, keep me a happy face. We ready? Okay. I welcome you all to the Finance Committee meeting of April the 1st, 2015. Happy April Fool's Day to you all. Could I get a roll call, please?
You may. We have present Marilyn Jordan, Joan Papez, Tom Worthen, Ellis Bailey, Jeffrey Langen, Donna Brock, and Bonnie Jean Coutuli.
Do I have any citizens' participation at this time? Now that would have been a perfect opportunity for a good joke right there. Come on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring the town administrator forward.
Just a point of order. I'm taking notes tonight, so you have to go. I'm nowhere near Kelly's speed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
God, by the time he gets going, I'm gonna be another year old.
You'll be celebrating your great-grandchild's first birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
You got pictures?
So really, the only update that I have is Mayflower came in with its rates. I'll be going to a meeting next week on it. It was to the Blue Cross, a 2% increase. The Harvard Pilgrim, a 4% increase. The MedX retirement was a 7.3% decrease, and the Harvard Pilgrim, their enhanced, which is a retirement one as well, was a 4.3% decrease. So the budget for health insurance that I'll be proposing for FY16 will be $6,947,520. That includes the dental as well. That is with 599 subscribers.
How does that compare to what you thought you were going to get?
It's actually much better. It'd be about a, I think versus what we'd originally budgeted, it's about a $400,000 difference.
Good.
So, but we did not plan on any decreases from the retirement side, obviously, but their run rates are doing much better on those.
Is that 400,000 split between the school and the town?
The school is going to vote a budget at some point, and we've been making whatever progress, and I'll look forward to seeing what's going to happen.
Does the school pick up 300,000 of that savings or not?
Tom, that's nowhere in the realm of what we're talking about.
I know you're.
Yeah.
But is it a small step?
I am optimistic.
I think what you were asking is this overall savings going to help them on their side?
That's what I was saying.
The savings are going to help.
In the just for clarification, in the 6947, they're in there. That's the whole town.
That is the town and the school.
Right.
It also includes the water pollution control and the EMS.
That's
and
everybody.
That is just the employer portion.
Mm-hmm.
Just the employer's portion of it.
Correct.
Right, but that's everybody. All the head count is there.
Yep, that's for the town side. It's the 115 active subscribers, 111 retired. For the school, 291 active, 82 retired, and then the school teachers, the retired teachers, we have the assessment on the cherry sheet.
It goes for the mass thing, right?
Right, because they're part of the GIC.
Right. So that's separate.
Now the interesting is with these increases here, and you look at it, the Cape Cod Municipal Health Group, if you remember from Mr. Dutch's presentation, went up 10% overall. And the GIC is going up in a similar range, 10%, as well as having to change their deductibles, raising them from $250 to $750. So it's looking more and more like the move to the Mayflower's been a positive one.
Great.
Very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So there's no April Fools on that.
No April Fools. If I look at it from the number you had put in your, the requested budget was 7,307,874.
Right,
So that's about 360,000.
right, I rounded up to 400 to make it sound better.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds better.
300,000 savings roughly.
Yeah, I mean, there's savings from there. We also, from the state assessments, were lower than what we had anticipated. One of the reasons is, if you remember this year, we had the mid-year increase. So we factored the 3-year average of increases on top of this year's mid-year increase. And it looks like they just carried over that increase. So hopefully there'll be nobody else fleeing the schools and costing us more next year for the mid-year. When the assessments get raised like that, you don't have to change your budget, it just changes the overall fund balance. I double checked with the DOR when that happened. I said, do we have to go to town meeting, vote to reduce any budgets? How do we need to make this up? And they said, no, since it's part of your aid is just reduced essentially on it, so it's just going to change your fund balance. So that's why you don't.
So that's what happened to us this fiscal year.
Right.
They
so,
changed in the middle of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we had to make a change, it's the toughest thing is during the mid-year. A $265,000 change, as we all know, is essentially a $500,000 change because you're making those cuts. Yeah. So it's we're lucky that we can just use it off of the accounting, if you will.
Okay.
Also with the Mayflower group, these are real preliminary numbers. We know that we have their fund balance as of September 30th, 2014 was just under 35 million with 10,181 subscribers. So their fund balance was roughly $3,430 per subscriber. At the same period on October 1, we had 600 subscribers. So our total charge was actually less than we had anticipated. The total buy-in is $2,058,420. I've looked at what we've done for this fiscal year so far. Because it's just a mid-year really change on there, we're probably looking at $450,000 that we'll be paying out of that through the FY15, which will represent $600,000 into the next fiscal year, since that rate, the buy-ups carried over. With the increase on top of everything, which is part of the funding we already knew about, the 5%, so these 2% and such were on top of that. If I'm looking at that, that'll be another almost $415,000 difference, because it's going to be the overall amount, the employee and employer portion. So through next fiscal year, we will have paid close to about 1.3 million on that. Actually, 1.5 is more accurate, which means potentially if we have anything left in the health trust fund from the audit and such, we might be able to not have to do a buy-up in FY17, and in fact have those increases that we've used to fund in there, have them disappear, which could be a great help to the FY17 budget.
Pulling forward stuff that you have in the 5-year plan.
Right.
When you wouldn't have it probably, if this works, if it comes out all right.
If it comes out all right. So this is
This is the audit item to clean up that we had to get it all cleaned up relative to what was left before we went to Mayflower.
right. That's why we're going to have the audit being done, is not just for the It is a management letter item, that's something that they requested, so they'll satisfy that. But also, we need to know what we have in there. Right now, Blue Cross, they had, if you'll call it the IBNR, was a little over $1 million. It was about $1,050,000 that we paid. They've only spent out of that maybe I think about 300 some odd thousand, but they usually hold on to monies for a total of 2 years. Now after 1 year, they'll take a look at it and maybe give us back some funds and such, but that's going to be part of the audit report as well. Harvard Pilgrim did not take a lump sum. We paid throughout the run out for all of Harvard Pilgrim, and they have not asked for anything beyond what we've already paid. So, far, knock on
What
wood,
date do you have on that, for that to be finished, do you think?
for the run out from Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Us to get the results of that audit?
they've been in there working all week, so I would expect maybe within the next 2 weeks at the most.
Okay.
You know, been keeping up with Don on it, because they go through all the transfers. They're also seeing how we worked, what we did in there. We're still going to have the trust fund open, because right now we're still self-insured on the dental, which has been cheaper and hasn't been a major issue. Dental for the town, we budgeted this year about $350,000, and I think we'll be closer to, if I took what we've already spent and just average that out throughout the end of the year, it'd be $317,000. But that's not necessarily what's going to happen, so.
Is that a 67.5% share of that?
No, that's 75-25 the whole way around. The dental wasn't changed on that, it's really, the benefit amount on that was small. But when you look at it, as I was saying with the dental, so we should have a little bit of extra room in there as well. Although because the dental is part of the trust fund, we move over the whole $350,000 out of the budget line into the trust fund. So it's just a little bit extra money in there.
Go ahead, Dominic.
So, basically then, this health fund move seems to be, it's gonna be a tremendous benefit for us. If all things looking the way that you just described them, it's gonna be a big plus.
It's really, right now, it's worked out very, very well, especially considering we were projecting increases that were in the 11% range for us remaining self-insured.
Right.
One of the problems I know last year was people were, the residents were asking for us to make changes. We told them we've made the changes in the healthcare splits and that we were planning on moving to the Mayflower, hoping to get in there. And the feedback you received was, well, what do you mean hope? Just do it. Well, you have to be voted to be accepted in.
Right.
So while it's been our plan, if you know me, I'm pretty conservative on the numbers. I was not projecting any benefits from the Mayflower group because just did not know if you're going to get voted in. And we did have some communities vote against us going in there because they had made plan design changes to the GIC, which, they, instead of making those changes, we changed the healthcare split. So the package has been better benefit to us and the employees when it comes down to things like the deductibles, because when you think about that's still one of the selling points is a benefit. You say excellent benefits when you're trying to attract the best talent and such.
You got any more rabbits than that?
This has been one of the good ones. So a lot of us all worked together on creating a plan. We knew we didn't have the cash to go in there, so by allowing us to pre-fund it, it gave us an option that we never had. So it's worked out well.
Madam Chairman.
Go ahead, Dominic.
This 2017 push or benefit that you see, you feel strongly about it?
Most likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to budget 2017 with the increases on there. because I still don't know what's going to happen within the trust fund and such. I also need to know from Mayflower whether they will let us pay up a little early on there. It shouldn't be an issue with them, although we do pay, you pay a little bit of interest on the pre-funding on there. I think maybe 60,000. They may not want to lose that revenue, but I would prefer that we do buy it out and be done with it. You've seen that's been my recommendation for items. I'd rather save the 60,000 personally.
It might not be worth it in the longer run.
Yeah. So, but we've done things like paying down the debt on the Tremont Nail just to make that an attractive development site without any sort of obligation on it.
Don't go there.
I've got Dom ready to buy it for about $2 million right now.
Don't go there.
Yeah,
Don't go there.
try and get somebody bid against him. So
Don't go there. I don't even want to think about that building.
If he'd pay tax on it, we could give it to him for $1.
That's it. I can put together big sums of money for some places that are good and worth buying. That isn't one of them, pal.
April Fools.
April Fools, I wouldn't buy that with your money.
I'd buy it with his money.
Would you?
So what-
His money?
What is the difference?
It comes with a junk license.
He's loaded, no?
All right, let's not go there. All right.
What
Good
is the,
job.
what is the difference we might save in 2017?
if altogether, when looking at, you could be around, if we don't have to buy it, it could be a little over $1 million difference. That's if, one of the things that's hard to project is whether Mayflower is going to go up that as well
Yeah,
besides
that's-
these. But on just the base, if you would, you're looking between $1 to $1.2 million that we wouldn't need to fund in the healthcare line, which would be
Isn't that
excellent.
lovely?
That's still better than what
But
we're
still,
doing.
let's, I mean, that, because you're out there, you're in the range of, we were short a couple $1 million a year
Right.
on our way to 3, and actually if you add 1 year, that was 4.5, that we were gonna be short, so.
I mean, one of the most interesting things people forget about is before going into the Mayflower group, we weren't just looking at our obligation, our yearly obligation. We also had an obligation to bring the trust fund back into line, which was looking about $1.5 to $2 million of a pure cash infusion. So besides just saving on the rates, we had that obligation essentially disappear by moving into the Mayflower group.
A huge benefit.
What about, do we know much about what your expectations are in retirement? Because that's gonna be, that was the other part of fixed costs that was
Right.
a biggie.
We should have the, you get the, Plymouth County gives us the audit and it
Yeah.
spells it out. I think it's, the last time I've always estimated an 8% increase. And the reason for that was they moved it out to, and I'm not gonna try and tell you the year.
Oh, this is the government accounting standard,
Right,
thing.
well, not Mayflower, excuse me, the Plymouth County moved it out a few more years, but basically they said, hey, if we're moving this back now, we know your increases, be ready for roughly an 8% increase every year, no matter what. So that's why I'm just, in listening to them and seeing the past ones, that's where I estimate. And it's also, the reason why I actually like almost a flat one on the 8% is if you look at the history, you had a 8% reduction, 16% increase, 3% increase, 11% increase. For budgeting purposes, it was a nightmare. So I like the flat. You tell me it's going to go up like this, that's the projection. Even if we're paying a little bit extra to knock down our obligations, I'm fine with that.
Seems higher than inflation, just saying.
Well, because
I don't
we're
fully
actually,
understand it yet, so.
we're funding things that should have already been paid. The one good thing is you're probably, there's a guy in Plymouth County, who does it excellent. We're actually losing him. He's gonna retire. His name's Bill Farmer, but he's essentially one of the
Oh,
last,
Mr. Farmer.
I know
Yeah.
him, yeah.
he's one of the last 5%ers, if you will. Those are the people that paid 5% for their retirement. Now I'm a 9+2, and that's most of anybody that was hired, I think after 2009 and such. And as you lose your 5%ers and they literally die off, you're going to be having the other ones that have paid in the 9+2 that have had, through the pension reforms, have had to pay more to get to their level. And there actually should be some stabilization in there within the next 5 years that nobody's actually accounting for. It's going to be interesting to see what actually happens with those. But that's more of that's me looking at it from a geeky academic side. So,
I don't know, Dick
Yeah.
Paulson
Way to
would
look
still
at
argue that 8% on you.
8 1/4 he does on that.
8 and what?
Yeah.
8 1/4.
8
and a quarter?
8
Be precise.
1/4
It's not
returns.
2.6, it's 2.5.
At the returns Plymouth County, they use 8.25, but since I think 1983, their returns have averaged a little over 9 1/4.
Wow.
And this-
What are they doing?
Mr. Paulson would
Yeah.
doubt this
Yes.
very highly.
Yes,
Dick,
he would
you're out
argue
there.
that.
Call in.
Yeah, he is. He
Where
has
is he
gone to the
investing?
meetings and told them that they're not that they're being untruthful, that he just believes they're not being accurate. I guess.
Yes, and he firmly believes that. You
Yes,
can't blame him.
I think he was saying they're lucky to make 3% or something. It was bad. He was really all over 'em.
What else you got?
That's really as far as the budget and even really the articles. That's the main items.
That's all you got, okay.
Yeah.
So we're really at a standstill?
I would say so. That Thursday is going to be a big meeting for us. I'm working on putting all the grids together. The one thing I started thinking about, and it's unfair to ask because Kelly's not here, whereas our warrants are both much smaller than normal. I don't know if I have the other staff working and doing it, such as Shirley, Janet, and my staff as well. Is it better to print in-house, which gives us the extra, essentially, week to get most of this done? We don't have to worry about a week of printing.
I don't know, what do you mean as far as that? If you're saying you're not ready and we haven't come to an agreement on these budget items, then if we work on a Thursday date of next week.
Right, I mean, that's when all the votes are gonna happen from your end, really.
Well,
I believe.
yeah, I mean, if the school committee is gonna vote on their budget on the Wednesday, the 8th, and whatever it is, come Thursday night, we have to vote.
Yeah. Which I don't mind on the voting. I think I'm just talking about actually having all the documentation prepared behind everything.
You mean,
I'm
Because if
just
she's-
hoping that I have a real budget to vote on.
Yeah.
It's not, what's the saying? It's nice to hope
This is
to
my
wish
swan
for.
song, I'd like to have a real budget to vote on.
Yeah, it's, I was asked by one of the reporters and to comment on the budget. I said, well, we don't really have a budget, so I don't know what you want to comment on.
Okay, so you said you were getting together, what, this Thursday, or?
Tomorrow.
What were you doing?
What's-
You started-
tomorrow night or a week
Tomorrow
from
night or a
tomorrow?
week from tomorrow?
The,
Wait.
next week we're getting together, next Thursday, don't we?
It looks like we're gonna be having a Thursday meeting.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is everybody good
That's
with
the
that?
plan. I thought we agreed on
Because
that.
we can't do this on Wednesday.
I won't be here.
You won't be
I'm
here?
out of town next Thursday for 2 weeks.
Okay. The reason, well, Donna, I'll explain why you weren't here. The school committee is not going to vote their budget until the 8th. So we're gonna have to push our last meeting off to the 9th to do that last vote.
Yeah, I guess they voted a budget number, and I guess I'm just hoping there'll be something else on that Wednesday, so. I can't, what I'm trying to say is I can't speak to what they
And I
have.
understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you, well, you were here last week, but Madam Moderator was not, that we did schedule our public hearing, Madam Moderator, for April the 22nd. And we'll make that public hearing in mock town meeting. You go good with that? Okay. As far as some of these other items go, So we're talking these line transfers, you've got nothing, you don't know that, you said you might have a vet's number, but that's not finalized, right?
I do have next fiscal year's, veterans budget as well. I know that we're gonna need approximately from the veterans $65,000 in a transfer for this fiscal year. And that next year, it will be, the total amount will be 63,000 more than we budgeted this year from their estimates.
So 120, 130 roughly.
And, the total amount, I think we budgeted this year about 325 or such. I have to pull it up. And the new one will be closer to 380.
380.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Did I understand you that you said that you might have a little more time, you're gonna try to, print in-house, did I understand that right, or am I?
Yeah, it's not to really even to vote on them and stuff, it's just if Kelly's getting everything that she can't get everything on Thursday, and that Friday's the deadline, and, which, is she gonna be working from home, getting all
Yes,
stuff?
she's been working from home.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's fair. I'd like to see from her if she'd be okay with us doing it
How
in-house.
many are you planning on pressing at this point?
We usually do about, 250 or so from
Let's
each one.
save us money.
Well, I don't know that it really saves us money one way or the other, but,
Buys us time,
probably a
I
little
guess,
bit,
yeah.
but, I mean, she can stretch the time out, that if she has anything to finish, she's got the week within to work on. I
think
don't
we should
know,
leave that
sometimes
for-
Springtown meeting with the budget, like, the budget situation like this, you may fill the house a lot more than 250 people. It's just,
For the FY16 budget, the district assessment. So you have two portions to the veterans. One is the district assessment. And what that covers is our cost of, we're in a regional veterans portion of the Department of Veteran Services. That's why we don't have somebody purely in-house as the veterans agent. We're part of Barnstable, Bourne, Brewster, Chatham, Dennis, Eastham, Harwich, Provincetown, Mashpee, Orleans, Sandwich, Truro, Wareham, Wellfleet, and Yarmouth district. So that's where the $22,426.12 comes from, and that's based on the equalized valuation. The veterans benefits budget is $365,000 that they're requesting.
Next year.
Yes.
So 350 plus 365, is that right?
No, 222,426 plus 365,000. So you have 387,426.12. And I believe this year we budgeted $323,800.
But this is money we get back eventually, correct?
You get 75% back.
Percent back.
And if you look in our cherry sheet aid, the major increase was in the veteran services. That was about, I think it was about 53,000. So they're actually bringing in line and reimbursing us for the proper amount. If we didn't, we know we'll need a transfer in fiscal 15's budget. If we did not pay that amount, the Commonwealth would pay it. However, we would lose, you get charged 110% because there's a 10% assessment, and we lose our reimbursement for the next year. So it would be, yeah, we would lose $275,000 to save 65. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Didn't you say previously that the number of veterans was going up?
It's who's signing up for benefits.
Signing up for benefits.
Right. So they're either coming home, they've been honorably discharged, and it's it's persons that need the benefits, and it's something that it's the duty lies to is brought to the community. So it's something we need to do.
Yep, you gotta do it.
No, I was just curious as to what it was, the trends and so forth.
Yeah, they seem to be more signing up. It also covers the veterans' deaths. They'll do some burial costs and such. I remember when my father passed, they paid for part of his cremation and things like that, so,
Money takes care of Otis too, that's a beautiful place.
yeah, that's where,
It's beautiful,
or Bourne National, that's where
Beautiful.
he's interred over there in one of the walls, it's amazing,
that is beautiful.
so.
You ever been up there?
Okay, so, I feel like we're kind of at a standstill with these, budget articles and, capital items. So those are really gonna be, next week is gonna be the last chance to even talk about them. What I passed down to everybody, was I sent these over to Kelly, and this would be my recommendation, how we handle Article 5 and Article 6 on the special town meeting. That we're not gonna have those numbers until the 11th hour, just before town meeting. So I would recommend, a motion of no action on both of those articles, at this time. And then we can revisit them just prior to town meeting.
All
And-
3, 5, 6, and 7 do?
And, well, I'm gonna ask Derek, is that union contract, the police union, is that ratified at this time?
No, it's not.
Okay, so then I would recommend all three of them. No action at this time. Should that be ratified, then we can bring that up just prior to town meeting, but,
If not, you're gonna go with this recommendation.
go ahead, Tom.
If it gets ratified, and then it comes before us, our vote doesn't make a damn bit of difference, does it?
No, it's town meeting that would, the selectmen ratify it and town meeting funds it. But the finance committee provides advice to town meeting. So your vote would matter in telling town meeting whether you thought it was something that's worthwhile from a financial aspect.
All we see is it in total
Correct.
as to what it is.
Yep.
Mhm. And his funding plan for it.
Do you believe it will be done, Derek, by then?
Can I use the optimistic word again?
I'm
Yeah.
just
It's,
curious whether you thought it would be or wouldn't be, it doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's, I would really hope so. I think there's been a lot of,
Working towards it then.
yeah, a lot of work from both sides, and I've appreciated the effort from the Patrolman Sergeants Union.
Well, would you like a motion, Madam Moderator, to,
If that is, does everybody agree that that's a good way to handle it at
I
this
think it
point?
has to
For
be,
for
yeah.
each of these articles?
yeah,
And I think, Madam Chair, also we'll have in there is the explanation from the town as to what these articles would mean if something were to go forward.
You gonna read these, Derek? Did you read this?
The,
She's already
Like,
written?
read it?
uh,
You wanna read it?
Yeah, it's written very well.
Trust
he
us.
sounds shocked, Bonnie.
No, she did a good job with this stuff.
Well, it's anonymous,
This
they don't
time.
actually know when they get the book who wrote it.
Right, but still.
Did the cat write these?
The cat, well, the cat was sitting in my lap when I wrote them, but
I
that's
think
good.
it's written very well. I mean, it is what it is.
has Madam Moderator looked at them?
You wanna see these, Claire?
They're just sort of a holding for right now, with an explanation as to why we would change our vote at the last minute
Next time.
is the whole point. I hate to make it, people think, oh, well, they didn't do anything at the last minute, they changed their vote.
Right.
This is at least explains why we
No,
had to
I-
wait till the last minute to do so.
I think the no action and this is why is perfect. So
Yeah.
that's all we can do.
Well, I will entertain a motion on Article 5.
Can we hold off and just, until they're through reading it?
Sure.
Because the other ones that sit with the attorneys all the time.
Madam Chair, the only item I'd changed in Article 6 is that in the first sentence, per the town administrator, the only available funding source for this article would be from any surplus funds, and I'd put within the town's health insurance line in the
Okay.
FY15.
You may make that edit, that's my copy, so make that edit and I'll
Okay.
change it. in
Can you?
I'll change it in my computer and send it
Within
to
the
Kelly.
what? Founds within the,
I'm going to write it out and
Okay.
then
I think I generally get the grasp, and then it's like when you're
Is
sitting
there
there
a
trying to
change, I
write it.
guess? Let's
Do you
talk
have a
to-
change, Claire, too?
Oh, she'll get it when it gets printed anyway. So we want to sing a tune, we got dead airspace.
I think I'm breathing heavily into the microphone, so it's fine.
Bob, can you put on the cartoons?
Per the town administrator, the only available funding source for this article would be from extra funds within the FY15 health insurance line.
Thank you.
Where did you add that?
But in the first sentence of Article
Since
6.
the town? Article 6.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the first sentence, after any, I struck out the surplus funds found within the audit of the town's self-insured health plan and inserted extra funds within the FY15 health insurance line.
Okay.
Perfect, I'll fix that later.
Mostly we do
Rob,
things
thank
on
you.
our own, but when we have
All right.
informal partnerships.
So that's okay with everyone?
Okay, I make a motion to vote no action on Articles 5, Article 6, and Article 7 until we have further information from the town administrator.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for no action on Article 5, Article 6, and Article 7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 8, so 800 for no action on that.
Just so that I understand, the budget printed in the warrant will not reflect any of this late information either. Is that right?
Unless it's been ratified.
Well,
by the
these
time.
would be the budget printed in the warrant. I am budgeting any increases, projected increases, if you're talking about from the union contract.
So how
You're
are you gonna
projecting
handle
that
what?
in the
In the FY16 budget,
budget. But these, any financial impact from the health insurance trust and the audit
they
will
wouldn't,
not.
no, they wouldn't have an impact in the FY16 budget.
They wouldn't, because
No.
they take place this year.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, while we have the town administrator here, and I don't have a member of the Board of Selectmen here to explain, I guess Alan might have got tied up with some,
He is tied up. We had a meeting with, scheduled over in onset, and he was planning to be, that was at 6 o'clock, so he's trying to make his way over here.
okay. I will allow a discussion, sort of informally, as to Articles 8 and 9. There seemed to be some concern, that Article 8 and 9 on the special, with this lots and graves, retracting the $90,000 that was originally allotted to repair that building. I don't think, and Madam Moderator, I would ask you to come to the mic if you want to chime in on this. We can't I don't think that you, Jeff, I don't think that you can modify this motion to say that you want that 90,000 to go to, or a portion of it to go to tearing the building down. I think that's beyond the scope of what was written here. There seems to be some concern that retracting the $90,000, is that building is gonna sit there and be an eyesore, okay?
It's okay, you can fix it at a later date. Fix it at a later date.
I don't think that's good policy, and I think that should have been addressed as part of this warrant article. And if that's the case, then I want to change my vote to no, and I would strongly recommend this committee think about the occupants and the people who live around it, who take care of their properties. I mean, they're not big houses, but they're very nicely done. And a year ago, they left town meeting thinking that thing was going to be fixed. And now they're going to find out that, no, we're going to just leave it. And furthermore, I think I'm going to argue for the townspeople, and I don't think any of us would like to live across from that thing. And I don't think it's fair. And, you know, we do have the money. The question is, I mean, you can propose. Last week, we had a lot of hesitation about any votes. You could feel it in the room, but we didn't even want to vote on this thing. And
No, don't say that.
well,
Be yourself.
well, the sense that you got, there was a question about it, okay?
Okay. There's some concern, I understand.
There
Go
was
ahead, Tom.
concern.
I talked to Dave Menard about it, because, and I've written a minority opinion that we either fix it so we can use it or make it go away, before we take any of the 90,000, which has already been approved a year ago, to spend it for that specific purpose. But apparently, the cemetery committee can say you can't buy a pot of paint without their approval, even though the money has been approved in the town, in the town meeting. But anyway, David's advantage for that building for him is, A, it has a john in it, B, it takes 3 days to mow the lawn there. And without that building, he has to every day trailer the equipment over to mow, come back twice in effect, or 3 times. So it impairs his efficiency in handling that area. And if we're to take it down, it becomes available for planting, as
It's
it
more
were.
graves.
Yeah.
Sell more graves.
Okay,
Um,
so,
That's
hold
what
on
he
a
said.
minute. Tom,
Planting.
I feel, Madam Moderator, and I'm going to turn to you because you understand some of these rules better than I do at the moment, and I don't want to do something wrong. But I have a member of my committee who has a strong opinion to change their vote. And I'm not sure that that is a proper thing for me to allow. That would reconsider a vote because one person has a strong change of opinion because he's discovered different information. So I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I defer to you.
I mean, with regards to the vote that the FinCom has taken, you can always go back and make a motion to reconsider any article that you've taken a vote on, for any reason.
Okay?
Well, you can't change the article on a motion. I mean, you can't change the article.
At this point, no, we can't, we
No.
can't
You
change,
can change it on town floor.
anybody
Anybody can
can,
change it on town floor.
if
We're
it's
voting on what
accepted
it says
by the
right now.
moderator, okay?
That's right.
Okay, I have been asked if we might reconsider our vote, and that needs to go to a vote to reconsider, okay?
Mhm.
I thought this was put to bed, but I guess not. So I will entertain a motion to reconsider the vote.
Can- I wasn't here for the debate on it. I'm just trying to get the
But
the
no.
sense of what
To
exactly.
bring you up to speed, Donna, the reason for, or the understanding of the plan between Articles 8 and Articles 9 is that Article 8 was to rescind the prior authorization that was given to repair that horrible building
Yeah,
there, the $90,000. And, $20,000 that wasn't used for another project there. That would be put towards, Article 9, which is buying of this piece of property that butts against the Agawam Cemetery for an expansion of the Agawam Cemetery.
Land might
okay.
never come with-
Do you want me to read that article
getcha.
that they're rescinding?
I know what you're talking about now, yeah.
Okay?
Okay,
Do you understand now?
yeah, so they wanna use that, they wanna use the 90,000 to buy more graves.
Because it's available now.
It's
It's
Exactly.
available at a later date.
And it won't be at some other time. And Mr. Langdon has a strong opposition, and this was voted, actually, it was 5-1-0, so Tom also opposed the original rescinding of the $90,000, as does Mr. Langdon, that it should have been used for the project that it was originally set aside for.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay? Okay.
Okay, so,
So now I will entertain a motion to reconsider our previous vote.
I make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor of reconsideration, say aye.
Aye.
Can you raise your hand so I can get a count? 1, 2,
we're just reconsidering.
okay. Those opposed? Abstain? It passes for reconsideration. Discussion. Oh, no, I gotta rescind it?
You gotta rescind it, don't you? I was counting on you
I
for the
guess
language.
I don't have to do that, no? No?
Well, you can have a discussion on why
Okay.
you want to take a vote to rescind or not rescind.
Okay.
I thought the person who made the original motion has to retract his motion. No? That's not how it works? Okay.
No,
Okay. So have we rescinded our vote, now we have a new motion?
Well, we reconsidered it at this point.
Okay.
The discussion is to reconsider, so there is no vote on the floor right at the moment.
I empathize with where you're coming from and where Tom's coming from, but boy, those lots are pretty valuable to expanding the cemetery there. And I mean, to throw that away would be,
Well, we're gonna talk about that too.
okay,
Yeah, that
you
one's
know,
next.
I know the debate about those lots was, and the no votes were in the price of the lots. Those two lots have been on the market for a while. They're assessed at $99,000 apiece. They're down at the end of a dirt road. Very difficult to get to. They're being offered by the owner who
Who
lives in Rhode
paid
Island.
$350,000.
That's the breaks.
I understand, I just wanted to throw
Don't
that
get me
out
going
there.
on that. I already
That's
lost
all right.
$250,000 on my house in this
Don't
town.
worry about it, but he paid $350.
He paid $350, and
Just take
like
it
everyone
along.
else, you wanna buy mine for what I paid for it? You won't get it back.
No.
Okay.
Give it back to the bank.
The point being, okay, all I'm saying is I went by and looked at it, because the question, in fact, you had raised, that the roof was falling in and everything else like that. So I went by and took pictures last Sunday, and yes, indeed, it is falling apart. They have a bathroom and everything else, but it's falling apart. So, and it's been there for a while. And then I think about the fact that there are people in this town that do take care of their properties. There's a bunch of them that live across the street from that have to look at it, that saw the town vote to finally get rid of it, and it's an eyesore. The other thing you have to remember is that piece of building is something that 20,000 people go by every time we have a festival up at 80 Makepeace. And a town, anybody or anything gets one shot at a first impression. And to go buy something like that and to see it and recognize that it's town-owned property because it's in the town cemetery says an awful lot about us. Now, if you would go hire somebody and somebody shows up with dirty sneakers, pants with holes in them, and a stained shirt from food versus somebody who shows up dressed nicely, which one are you gonna hire? This reflects on the home value of every single homeowner in this town. And if we continue to let the town especially have this kind of stuff, what we're doing is downgrading the ability, not the taxes, what our people are paying taxes. I mean, the town goes down in value, the taxes go up. Town goes up in value, tax rate goes down. That's how it works in Massachusetts. What does affect it is the appearance. And this is a major appearance item, and for this town to allow that kind of stuff basically says that we don't give a damn about ourselves and have no self-respect. And I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I just say that this thing was reviewed a year ago for the very same reasons that Jeff has mentioned, in need of, it's been deferred maintenance for way too long. And it was voted on by the town to spend the $90,000, even though the town administrator, the town manager, or not the town manager, the maintenance department manager, felt that he could do it for considerably less, as he was gonna use I believe, trade school labor.
Grade school labor, right.
And it didn't get done. So I think that's 2 black marks. I think it should have gotten done, and I would not take any of that money away from it until it did get done.
And I'm gonna ask the town administrator, is there something about this project that we're not aware of? Why the commissioners hadn't gone forward with going ahead and hiring a contractor or sending this out to bid or doing, or
Yeah,
following through?
it's not a high priority item. And to be blunt, even if town meeting votes those funds, you can't force the cemetery commissioners to actually expend them. So you could keep this article on there and they could never spend that and never fix that.
So what good is town meeting vote? Well, what good is town meeting vote?
Town meeting authorizes the funds.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here and probably maybe overstep my bounds a little bit, but the finance committee has to remember that you're not taking votes based on whether you support or don't support an article for the content of the article. Your votes are based solely on the financial perspective and whether financially it's in the best interest of the town.
No, I think Mr. Langdon's trying to take that approach, in that, I mean, he's looking at it rationally, that are we increasing the property value of the people who have to look at it across the way? Okay? Are we buying, you know, two acres of land that, we might be able to sell and develop and get a better tax?
Or get it for less money.
Get it for less, I don't know. I feel, that he makes a legitimate argument that it should have been done.
My 2 cents.
Can
I
I
mean, they
put
were
some
so-
information here which you don't have? This came before the planning board, the piece of land. The gentleman basically spent a lot more money for the
The
land.
land, this is a different article.
No, I mean, they're both.
Cemetery.
The cemetery.
Talking about
It's 9.
Both tied together.
It's Article 9. We haven't
why
turned the
don't we
building
fix
down
the
yet.
building?
Well, it all ties together. Let me
Right,
start,
it
let me
does.
start from the beginning. The planning board was working on this particular piece of land. The gentleman came in. He wants to sell the land. He has a customer for it. He needed to get the ability to subdivide the land. Came before the planning board. They basically said they'd take it under advisement for come back in another week. In that time frame, he actually offered the town, if the town was interested, because he has a customer for it. If he doesn't sell it to us, he has someone else that's ready to buy it at the same price. So the deal was very simply that what happened is the cemetery commissioners were informed that a piece of land was available next to the Agawam Cemetery because the cemetery has no more land available for any more graves.
That's not correct.
That is correct.
It is not correct.
It is as far as the cemetery commissioners, that's the information we have.
Well, the plan, if you look at the plan of the cemetery, there's room for another 36,000 square feet behind where the upper level.
Are you sure it's available for them to put the plots
The
in?
town owns it, and it just abuts the existing improved area.
Is it part of the cemetery?
Well, I looked
I'm
at the
asking,
plan-
Tom,
I
is
looked
it part of
I
the
looked at
cemetery,
I
or
looked
is
at
it some
I
land
looked
the
at
town may
plan.
have?
David and I measured it out, and it takes it up to a stone wall that is within the cemetery lot, cemetery plan.
All I'm trying to tell you is the cemetery commissioners said they would like to buy that land if it was possible. They made the decision to go ahead and put off fixing the building, to buy this now and come back either in the fall or the spring to take care of the building. That's what's happening. The gentleman, if we don't buy it, he will sell it to somebody else that he has ready, lined up, because the planning board gave him the subdivision of the land to 2 lots, which is what the buyer wanted before they would buy it.
The other thing is that it's only 61,000 square feet, which is less than an acre and a half, and it's on here for 2.5 acres. What's the deal?
I can't answer that for you because I don't have the information in front of me. All I'm telling you is this is what came before the planning board. The planning board made the decision to subdivide the land, and they offered it to the town beforehand. If the town doesn't want to buy it, he has a customer ready to buy it.
Did you say that they were going to take care of the building?
The cemetery commission still plan to go forward with the building. They'll bring an article back in the fall or at the latest next spring. They made a decision to put off one to do the other. This is the one-time opportunity they have to expand the land for the cemetery. This is something you wouldn't know because unless you're with the planning board stuff, there's no information coming across.
No, it's
And I apologize for that, but that's how this all worked out. This was a last minute thing which came up. The gentleman said, I didn't realize the town would be interested in buying it. If they want to buy it, fine. If not, I have a customer.
Go ahead, Dominic.
What I think, I understand what you're saying, the building, but to expand our cemetery, we might never get the chance to do this again. Land is there now, it might not be there in the thing, you can always fix that building. You can never always buy land.
Buy the
Now, we
land.
can make money selling the grave lots and repair the building at a later date. I understand what you're saying, the building's ugly and all that, but an ugly building can be fixed this year, next year,
can't
next
buy the
month,
land.
next month. This land is gone, you can't go and make more and buy it again. So to expand our cemetery.
How much would it cost to bulldoze the building?
Why bulldoze it? We need it there.
The problem you have is if you bulldoze it, where are you going to put all the equipment that has to be there in order to fix the, dig the holes and everything else? It would be great if the Catholic cemetery across the street had enough land. We could ask them, could we share the
They
land for a little bit?
They actually have do more land than the building.
No, if they had a bigger building, they have a building over there for their equipment.
I know.
There's
I'm on their finance committee too,
Oh,
so I'd
is
be
it?
happy to bring it up.
But it's a
No one has asked them.
So,
Well, guess what? Someone just asked.
What?
Someone just asked.
Right.
Bring, let's see what we can do.
My personal opinion,
Yes,
I
they
can't
do.
see missing the opportunity.
Well,
I agree with
Ally,
you.
what she want to do is take the building and fix it, but, you know. I
If,
don't wanna-
if I
I
saw,
have one question as far as, comes, this was a year ago that this was done, spring 2014. You said, Derek, that it's not a priority, okay?
When was it? Was it spring, the annual spring town meeting?
This says, yeah,
I
it
think
says
so.
spring 2014.
So you couldn't have done anything till July 1,
Okay.
and frankly, for us to do a project like that, you'd be, even to start bidding out for it with everything, it would have taken a long time. I'm gonna be blunt, this is what you get with what we have. We
Okay, so
have-
you're talking about the fact that
We
there's so
could
many other
even-
things going on in,
that's.
well, the
I mean,
original,
The last time, don't forget, I mean, when we've done projects like the town hall roof, and we've relied on having to use the town staff instead of hiring a clerk of the works or anything like that, look at the disasters we've gotten into.
Uh-huh.
You know, when we rush things, when you push it through, let's be smart about it and do things right. If you want things done right away, fine.
The-
Have a
the
have
ori-
a
the
half,
original
you
plan.
know what job.
can I
you
just,
know, that's.
the original plan, as the town meeting voted on last year, was that we were going to use students basically, and it would be done by July, and they would paint it and do everything to it. And you can ask Tom, because Tom raised a question in August when it hadn't been done, what the heck had gone on? And was questioning why,
Just in fairness to that comment, even when you work with any regional technical school, they have projects booked 2 years ahead, so it may have been, and I don't know for sure, that maybe when they went to the school, maybe they're on a waiting list and it's gonna take a while. I mean, I know one of the churches wanted to put a handicap ramp and it took them 3 years on the waiting list just to do a ramp.
It took me a year to get the ramp built also.
Tom, you want to correct me on this,
Congregational
because
church.
you were with me, and, I mean, you raised the issue. So you have two of us here that had the understanding that it was supposed to happen and somebody forgot to ask
Forgot to ask what?
the students and make arrangements.
Well, was it going to be with the Volk School?
Yeah,
Yeah, you do have to make a formal request.
they forgot to ask and town meeting voted on it.
That's not a good answer.
What?
That's not a good answer
It's
for
not a
us.
good answer, no.
I don't
It's not a way
disagree.
to run a railroad.
No, I mean, Mr. Dutch was at our meeting last night, and he explained the projects that they do and how far they're booked up and what they are available. Because I think Judy actually grabbed him on the way out last night,
She did, and
a
I
couple projects.
overheard that conversation. There are certain things that the school will agree to in terms of repairs to buildings, and certain things that they won't agree to.
Hmm.
Okay, here's my point. Before you come to town meeting, get your Ts crossed and your Is dotted, or don't ask.
Well, on the other hand, too, I mean, I think, you know, if these questions came before, that it would have been nice to, and one of the things I have tried to emphasize over my last 5 years, when you're having articles come before town meeting, even before they get on the warrant, you should have these committees and people in and ask them questions. I mean, if these issues were an issue, then maybe having the cemetery commissioners come in would have helped a
well,
lot.
yeah, that was why,
Yeah.
they've had another week to think about it, and, Jeff went and took a look, and he feels strongly that, you know, it looks terrible, and I totally understand that. But, you know, sometimes I wonder too, that when we're asked, or we're going to be asked our opinion, that they're not beating on our door and saying, we want to talk to you. So,
Historically, Bonnie, you know, going back with my history with town meeting and finance committees, the finance committee always had the proponents of the article, or if it was from a department head, or if it was a committee, they always had those people in before the vote got taken. And this is something I've tried to educate even the Board of Selectmen, even before you close the warrant. You have your department heads in, you have your committees in, you get all the answers to your questions, you ask as many questions as you need to ask, so you have that information. And I, for 5 years, I've really tried to get that point across. I failed at it, I admit I failed at it. I don't know what else to do or how else to emphasize that. It is so important before putting articles on town meeting.
Maybe
That
what
you
we
meet
need to
with the
do,
department heads and you meet with the committees and say,
no.
You know, one of the interesting things that happens is we're always told to run it like a business. Jeff, Tom, tell me how many times you had to have town meeting vote for your business. I've heard talk of, well, I want to do something, so I went to one person and we got it done. Town meeting sets us back on trying to get things done, and it really hurts the time frame. If we want to act quickly, I'm all for it. But it's often that we have to make these changes. You have to try and make them on the fly for town meeting. You have something that's coming up now, and you don't want to wait till October. So maybe you can try and get it and squeeze it in this town meeting. So, you know, it's such a mixed message to us on how we're trying to work. Because I will tell you what, no business could function with how we have to function.
Well,
I agree.
a capital plan, carefully thought out, can project out 3 or 4 years.
With
With
no
money.
funding.
And-
With
With no
money-
funding, it doesn't
with
matter.
money.
No, within the town meeting, you can anticipate what the needs are gonna be and when they're gonna happen.
can I,
This building here 5 years ago looked like
that's
this,
the problem.
Right.
and nobody stepped up and said, let's do it.
This is the first time the
And
cemetery
the
commissioners
options
opened
for
up
doing
their
it
coffers.
were the options for doing it, and that's why he asked for $90,000, is to go out and do it with an outside
The only
contractor and
reason
all of
that,
the other.
the only reason that there are
or
funds available
tech.
for that today is from the cemetery commissioners. If it were the town doing it, that would not even be a blip on our radar.
I
We
understand.
have so many more priorities,
I-
including expanding the cemeteries.
You have to remember, the cemetery commissioners, it's their money, their control. They made the decision, not the Board of Selectmen
And they-
or
and they-
anybody else. They made the decision to
And
put it
they've
off
been
for this.
sitting on a pile of money
They-
that they had, that they could have done this building 10 years ago, or
That's-
5 years ago, if they
Then your
if they wanted to.
discussion, Tom, should be with the cemetery commissioners.
All right, can I just,
It's not us. It's the cemetery commissioners that
Well,
ones.
So I am saying I'm not gonna vote in support of what the cemetery commission wants to do until they fix this building. I don't care what they wanna buy and what the price is. But further,
That's your opinion, and that's fine.
that's right.
so
That's
I-
fine.
So that's what,
that's why I'm calling for a revote, okay?
That-
Because I want to change my vote to echo Tom's. If you look at this, if I had changed my vote last week, it would have been a tie and didn't pass.
Can I,
Go ahead, Donna, you haven't had anything to say, go right ahead.
I think we beat this to death. I think we know where we stand on this. I think, you know,
No, it's the
logically,
next vote.
I
It's the next
mean, the
I'm
land
still
wasn't
against it.
available when the money came up with the $90,000. And I understand what you're working with, Mr. Town Administrator. I certainly empathize with what you're working with. But I feel that it would be ludicrous not to take this land right now and expand it. It would be crazy.
Let the town decide. All we're doing is making a recommendation.
well,
Well, okay,
all.
that's fine. Okay,
That's
then I
fine.
move for the vote.
Can we, no, what do we have to do?
You have to rescind your
We have to
previous
rescind.
vote.
You have to rescind your vote and go back.
Okay, can we rescind the vote? I make a motion, we rescind the previous vote.
Second.
All those in favor of rescinding the previous vote?
Aye.
Aye, opposed,
No,
No,
abstained? Passes.
How many ayes have, I gotta break this down.
okay, so now we're gonna vote on the original.
I need a motion.
Wait a minute, hang on. Who said aye to that? There were two noes
There were just two no's here.
Two no's.
Just two no's.
and everybody else was aye?
She abstained because she
Dominic
wasn't
and,
here.
Hmm?
Donna abstained because she wasn't
Donna
here.
abstained, one abstained, okay. 1, 2, 3,
8,
4,
5,
6.
2,
Yeah.
1.
2, 6, 1? Did I
That's
get that
right.
right?
That's right, I abstained because I wasn't here, good. Thank you.
6, yes, okay.
Okay,
I miss Kelly.
now we're gonna move on the vote?
Now we have to make a vote.
I will entertain a motion on Article 8.
Make a motion for favorable action.
Motion to approve Article 8.
Yes.
Lots and Graves to rescind the $90,000 and the $20,000.
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Anyway.
Aye.
It's
Aye.
It's up to them.
What is it,
Marilyn, are you and I?
Couldn't get here any faster. I'm a
Five.
cemetery commissioner,
You're a cemetery commissioner?
Yes, she is.
you're in the middle
And
of
I'm in my
the.
nightcap. Hold on, we're right in the
You're
We're
middle.
right in the middle of a vote,
Sorry.
so 5 ayes.
Don't you say that to me.
Okay, all those.
what is the vote
I'm
here?
trying to
Five.
count it.
The vote
1,
is,
So
2,
vote for favorable action on Article
the
8.
vote is to approve Article
Approve
8.
Article 8.
Right.
So
One,
it's 5-3.
two, 3, 4, 5. 5 ayes,
Just past
okay?
that, it's okay to vote.
All right, but I still want him to hear.
3 noes.
3
All
noes.
those opposed? 3.
Article passes.
Abstain?
The article passes.
Okay, I'll hold off on the other one.
Okay, we're gonna have to do the other one.
Madam,
Yes,
I'm gonna ask the town administrator to push that mic a little closer to you.
I know you want me to eat it.
You won't need it.
No, would you like to, would you like to introduce yourself to the committee, please?
My name is Deborah Jean Rhodes. I reside at 10 Juniper Street in Parkwood Beach. And I believe there is only one other person, and I'm a cemetery commissioner.
Okay.
And I'm very upset with what I was watching on TV, very. Not with all of you, some of you. I think there is only one other person, I could be wrong, maybe there's 2 on this board, that has lived permanently in this town more than I have. I have lived permanently over 40 years, plus 20 plus years as a part-time resident. And if it wasn't for me speaking up about an article, a legal notice that was in the Wareham Week about this particular property in question, none of this would come about. Because I brought it to the attention of the cemetery commissioners, because I knew there's an issue about space. And I don't know if somebody's aware that there's an Indian burial ground on the other side of the stone wall.
That's the land you were talking about, Tom.
On the other side of the stone wall, which,
But the land is not improved up to the stone wall.
no, that's true, I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. But there was a survey done, and there's a copy of that survey at the town barn. And also, the man that applied for this variance, or whatever you call it, didn't follow proper procedures to begin with. He never sent green cards to the abutters, who included the cemetery. And when he did, after the second hearing at the planning board, send green cards, the green cards came addressed to the chairman of the cemetery commission, but was kept at town hall. It should have gone to the town barn. That's considered our place of business. So there's a lot of things connected to this that are very upsetting about the whole thing. And I don't understand why some of you think that's an eyesore. I think the nail factory is more of an eyesore. And other buildings in this town are more of an eyesore. A lot of buildings. How close are those houses that you're talking about?
Across the street,
What street?
to Honnet Road.
200,
So they abut St. Patrick's Cemetery then?
yes.
Right.
Do they abut Town Cemetery?
The St. Patrick's Cemetery building is painted. It has a
I'm
full
not
roof.
talking, I just asked you, do they abut the Town Cemetery as well?
They do across the street,
Other side of the road.
to the other side of the road.
All right, okay. That building has been like that for years. There used to be a
Fire
steam...
department.
Pardon me?
It was the fire department.
No, there used to be a steam shack up there many years ago. My father used to go every Saturday night for a steam bath. And I don't know if that building is still up there. I believe the Rod and Gun Club had a building up there too. But there are much more eyesores in this town than that building. And that money that we have is to be used just for the cemetery or anything connected directly to the cemetery. So that was the argument last year at town meeting. So it's not that, we're trying to pull something over people. But the whole thing has been a nightmare all along. The things have not been followed correctly. As a lot of things in this town, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. At least you people, I watch your meetings regularly. And you're doing a very good job. It's reminiscent of the days when Mr. Wild was here, who would not stand for some of this nonsense. I think there's one man left that remembers Mr. Wild, if I'm correct,
No, I
too.
remember him.
And he wanted me to serve on it, but because working in Boston and commuting, I just couldn't do it.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
This question is, the town goes ahead and buys this land. In the future, the cemetery commission does want to redo this building?
Oh, definitely,
And
definitely.
do you feel that that's in the near future and the monies will be available in the
Yes,
near
definitely,
future?
definitely.
Does the, second part to my question, by purchasing this land, does it dry up the funds in that account? Do you know, like, a certain balance, or is there enough money to move forward right away in the next town
There is
meeting?
not enough money unless we oversell graves. I mean, really push.
So you're gonna purchase the land, it'll pretty much deplete the funds in the accounts?
There'll be money left there.
Okay, so there will be some money, and hopefully the sale of some graves, and then you get some money to redo this.
Yeah,
The future is to redo the building.
yeah.
And they wanna buy this land because the opportunity is now.
Severe, yes.
That's what I said, okay,
All
thank you.
right.
ma'am. Thank
And
you
we
very much.
talked about community preservation funds, but we were told we couldn't use them because, now correct me if I'm wrong, something about town money.
You're selling graves. So
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
sell something you've purchased.
And for your
Could they use that to fix, excuse me, could CPA funds use to fix the building?
I don't think it's
You know, it's not, still not necessary.
It's not historic, no.
It's still not right.
No. And Mr. Consoletti, excuse me, at Wareham Village Funeral cannot get a single grave anymore at the cemetery. For your information. There are no more single graves at the center cemetery.
I have a question for
At any cemetery?
Center cemetery.
Center.
The main cemetery is full.
Center or Agawam?
Center.
Center.
Center,
Central
that's where the
or
building,
Agawam.
the building's in center.
Central.
Yeah, that's where the building is taller, that one's smaller.
Well, but if you took that building down, you'd get,
Not that many.
Could be
that's
back
all
in
we're
business.
taking it down.
Then what would you do with the lawnmower? I have a question for Mr. Town Administrator. If in the event that Article 8 were to fail, Article 9 couldn't go forward as far as monetarily?
No, they wouldn't have the funds with that, within that account.
That's-
You'd still, I don't know the balance, I still think you'd have close to 40,000 in that account after all
I
said and done.
didn't bring anything with me. I ran out, I have my nightgown on.
You look beautiful there.
I can't remember, it's easy enough to pull that up.
I would assume that there wouldn't be enough to.
I
do
can,
that.
I
And you
can
couldn't
get
do
it to you.
both.
No, you couldn't do
If you
both.
have a town report,
I don't on me at the moment.
if somebody has a town report, if you look at last year's town report, it will show you the balance that was in that fund. Plus, we've sold graves since then.
Article 8 and 9 will be bundled together also.
Right, that would, yeah,
If one
you
comes
can't
up,
do
one
one
goes
after
on,
the
one
other.
goes with it.
Right.
It's part of the standard.
Okay.
So,
So we still have to revote Article 9 as well.
Could I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
How many grave plots are left at Agawam, and what's the rate of their sale per year?
In the 70s, I think there were about 70, at least 70 graves a year. Now, those of you that don't know, that piece of land that abuts Great Neck Road, even though there's just grass there, there's graves there.
Right, they have plaques, yeah.
No, there's no plaques, there's
Old part,
nothing
no.
there.
The old part of it?
Yeah,
Yeah, the old part has got some old graves in it. You
yeah,
know
the
what they
Great
say.
Neck Road,
Yeah.
where that goes by there, there's graves in there, but there's no markers.
No kidding, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
Now,
how many,
how much did the lots go for?
$600
yeah.
for a
For
4
double?
by 10.
I'm going to the ocean, man.
Which is two
For
people usually.
perpetuity.
Usually.
Yeah,
And we're in the
St.
process,
Patrick's is 1,200.
and we're in the process of changing the rules because we had something
I'm sure
happen
there's a
this year.
Catholic joke there.
What's that?
I'm sure there's a Catholic joke
Watch
there.
it, you. Watch it, you.
Oh, see, we're together on that one. We'll get it.
Huh? No. Baptized a Roman Catholic and still practicing. What was I gonna say? Well, it's 700. But this winter, we had a situation where we had, just so you're aware of something unusual, we had to bury somebody because of extenuating circumstances. And we're now gonna add a charge for that, because the cemetery had not been plowed.
Right.
And they had to plow so they could bury this one burial.
People don't know, they actually, when the ground's so frozen, they actually wait.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Or charge a premium.
yeah, my
I mean,
mother
every-
died the winter, and we didn't bury her until May.
Yeah.
Well, in Plymouth, it's $100 if you're buried, other than during a storm.
Yeah.
It's an additional $100.
The,
We can get you the information.
All right.
I'll get right back to you. You at home right now?
okay. So we don't know how
We
many
have a
years
meeting
of
tomorrow
lots
night.
there are left?
My understanding was is if there was any, there's
Okay.
very few
All right.
actual graves, because people bought, bought
Yep.
lots and bought
Okay, bye.
pieces.
Okay, bye.
And again, the answer was from the cemetery commissioners, this is their one opportunity.
Right.
They have expansion there.
As a follow-up, how many people,
Soon.
how many
Okay.
plots could be sold in the new land, I guess? How many years is this a long-term solution, or just a Band-Aid?
Straightforward, there's no long-term solution, because everybody keeps dying year after year. You're never gonna have enough room.
well,
Hopefully,
like they do in
hopefully some-
England, you get a 20-year lease or.
Yeah, well,
Well, that's what they used to do in Berlin before the wall fell as well. That's,
well,
Well,
they
what
took
might
my
happen
grandmother.
eventually is
Or go
you'll-
deeper.
You'll have cremations only somewhere down the line,
Well,
because
the-
there'll be no space.
the
Yeah.
So
The-
this is just a
excuse me, are
Band-Aid.
looking at
Everything's a
building
Band-Aid when it comes to this kind of thing.
a crypt, so that, in other words, the best way to describe it is you get a drawer
Right.
instead of a burial in the ground. That's one of the reasons we're looking forward to getting that land, so that we can build that crypt, and that would help us.
As a finance committee, the land is being bought for $170,000. Anything I can find is it's 1.4 acres.
It's
It
on the
currently
town books.
pays-
There's
Huh?
2 acres. Well, they're an acre each, and they're each assessed at 99,000.
But that
But
includes
it's
the land that
it's
cannot be
30,100
touched.
square feet.
Tom, there's an easement on that land on the top side, if you look at it, and there's like a double easement, it's a 20-foot.
Are you buying it?
It comes with
It
it.
comes with it, yeah.
But what it is because of the wall of the cemetery, there's a 25-foot piece going all the way along the side.
Yeah.
It has to be pushed back, plus if they put a road in for this development, there's a 20-foot road that goes below that. So the land goes from the stone wall actually 45 feet in before you actually have what we call upland buildable land.
So they're buying.
They're buying
the
all of
land
it. They get
Plus
all,
the easement?
they get all of it, it all comes with it.
It's almost 2.3 quarters, almost.
Yeah.
A little-
Okay.
little
If
bit
an,
shy.
if an independent person, Tom, bought the land, like the person he has ready to buy the land, if they buy it, they have to put a road in for 20 feet,
And
and
water.
they have to keep 25 feet between that and the stone wall barrier. So they get less land when they buy it as a residential, as a commercial sale, or a residential sale. The town gets all of it anyways, and can do what it
All
wants
right,
with
and
it.
if it was gonna, it now produces like $2,600 a year in taxes. If the person who buys it is a private citizen and is gonna improve it, there's a revenue to the town consideration for what its new value might be.
Well, it's gonna be developed, there'll be a new house put in there, straightforward. The existing house that's on the land probably will get redeveloped. There is a cost to the town, there is a loss. But what's the cost of trying to get approximately 2 acres of land 10, 15 years from now?
You're also running
You have
the
to-
gamut of if they have 4 kids, we've lost a lot of money. If the people come in there have 4 kids, that's a loss to the town.
Nobody with kids is gonna move to this town. Will you stop
And you-
that?
What?
Don't ever say that.
Nobody would,
You just never know.
okay, the odds are very slim.
What happens if he,
The only people with money to buy a house are retirees. There's a bunch of them in Boston. They got buckets of money. Those are the ones.
too,
who-
don't you?
Yes, I am.
I totally disagree with my colleague over here.
So,
I'd like to
Let's
move
vote
on.
to beat
Let's-
the
let's-
dead
Do we have
horse.
to?
All right.
Yeah.
how we vote,
I
the town's gonna
appreciate-
decide. All we're doing is deciding, we're voicing our
Exactly.
opinion on it.
Exactly.
Please understand that
Well,
we
I
all
don't
have
like
different
some of the
reasons.
opinions that I heard on television tonight.
What that?
I don't like some of the opinions.
I understand you don't like them, but we're entitled to them because
Oh,
we're
I know
citizens
you
as well
are,
and
just like
taxpayers.
I am about other things in this town, and somebody knows what they are too.
Right?
I bet he does.
No assisted living is my big thing.
Amen. Thank you. That's what I would love to bring here. He knows that.
And it's gonna be the cause of me moving out of
I'd go
Wareham.
one step further. I'd give you life care. But
No, that's gonna be the cause of me moving out of Wareham. They
I
think
know.
it's a joke, but it's the truth.
both my mom and my mother-in-law were in assisted living. Made a big difference.
Well, I
Well, let's go.
appreciate and thank you, madam, for
Yes,
rushing down
I-
here
yes.
to correct us and our misconceptions. We still need a motion on Article 9 to revote the Agawam Cemetery expansion.
I
Please
move.
keep in mind that should Article 8 fail, the Article 9 won't go forward.
Eight. Yeah, we did not rescind.
Yeah,
So we don't even have to do
rescind.
9. We can,
That's
unless they
true.
want to do, rescind 9 and do it over.
Do you have any need to rescind Article 9? Who voted against Article 9?
Ellis and I did.
Was Ellis and I?
I
Okay.
want to join them. That was the only difference. It may not carry, but at least I'll be on record.
It's, yeah, well, it won't change. It won't change the way it's reading right now. If it's 5-3, it's still gonna be 5-3. 4-2 is still
Okay.
4-2.
Do the audience duly note
Okay.
in the record.
So I will expect a fully expanded minority opinion on that. And who was handling
I
the,
got the pros on both of
you
you.
got the pros? Okay.
Already-
Now, I'm gonna move on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Derek, if you feel no need to hang out with us, you really don't need to.
Just in case you think my job's easy.
Thank you, darling. You can go back to your comfortable house.
have a good
We're
night
gonna
there.
move on down to Article 15, and I was promised by the Board of Selectmen Chairman, Mr. Slavin, that I would get a full explanation as to the motivation for the Board of Selectmen bringing this forward. So you have the floor, Mr. Slavin.
You okay?
I'll make this very quick and real simple. This was brought forth by one of the selectmen because we had some issues with some places that are selling technically what's classified as junk. We have a bylaw that explains it all. There's several words in the bylaw that really, I think, would open up Pandora's box right now because we have a store downtown that sells used clothing. They would fall under this. A Salvation Army would fall under this. There's a whole bunch of businesses which in theory shouldn't be under this that would be. Basically, the Board of Selectmen should have taken a little more time. It was kind of rushed, and it's not an excuse. It's really, it's our problem, our fault. I think we probably should have put it off because I basically made the comment, I was concerned, you know, when we were talking about it, that I thought there were some issues that weren't going to be clear with this, the idea of 25. Raise it to 25 didn't make sense after figuring out what the bylaw covers and how it's worded. It probably isn't even enough technically if you cover all those businesses. So we're meeting tomorrow with Town Council, with David Moore, who's the Director of Inspectional Services, to go over and look at how everything is described, what it is, and I'm going to make a recommendation on the floor to put the article out for further study. Even though we basically voted, you know, we haven't voted ourselves on it, on the board, on 15 yet, but the bottom line is we're going to put it out for further study because it's not complete. I can't go to town meeting. I thought we could just do a policy with the Board of Selectmen to clear up the junk issue, verbiage and everything else. After looking at it, when I was told we couldn't do it as a policy, I knew that the moderator would probably not only say no, but probably want to hurt me if we try to do something with the article, because it takes away the scope and meaning of the article completely, and you can't do that. So the answer is, we're going to put it out for further study.
Okay. I thank you. I was, from what I've heard, that the bylaw is pretty, because it just stipulates any sort of, if you're selling any sort of used item, and that could,
Do you want to read it?
yeah,
Claire can read it for you. It's ambiguous.
Go ahead, read
It's-
it,
it's
read it
great.
for us, so
It
everybody
actually
knows
says,
that.
Division 2, Article 2, and what the warrant article says is they want to change the number in the first line. And it reads, "The selectmen may license not more than 5 suitable persons to be dealers in and keepers of shops, principally for the purchase, sale, or barter of junk, old metal, or second-hand articles in the town." So that really opens you up to
Everything is everything.
a lot.
Another example, if you
And
think of GameStop in the mall, GameStop
That's
takes in used
secondhand.
equipment,
That's right.
they take the video
funny,
games,
yeah.
take them in, trade them in, and
Yeah,
sell them.
you're
They'd
right.
be right under that.
Use
Yeah.
cell phones?
Use cell
Every
phones.
Cell phones, all of it.
Yeah, it really, I think, in talking with Mr. Slavin, and saying to him, you really need to go through the bylaws, because, it's not only the bylaws, but if you look at the zoning bylaws, the zoning bylaws only allow junk dealers in 2 zones, either MR30, which is residential, so you could have a home residence of an antique shop, or strip commercial, so that would mean GameStop, any of these stores that aren't on Cranberry Highway are
Strip-
illegal.
Cranberry
So
Highway strip
this, I think, the recommendation that I made to the chairman of the board is this really needs to be put off in some hard look at the bylaw itself before doing anything.
I understand all that too, but, we're going in the right direction though, because we're losing a lot of revenue for licensing. So I think that, further study to find out exactly how to write this, to figure out exactly how to do it is the right thing to do. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And it also goes on to say these secondhand shops would also be required, like a pawn shop, to keep a record of every sale with a picture and a license ID. I don't see.
Prevent stolen items, that's what it's designed for.
Right, but I don't see Salvation Army or GameStop or any of these retail outlets doing that. So there needs to be a very hard look taken at the bylaws
Yeah,
and
definitely.
correcting and the intent of it, so.
Also a lot of work for the police department too and all that.
Just raise the price so high. that
All right,
people
do we need
get
any
good
further
deals.
For those of
information?
you who were not here last week, someone said, oh, we could raise it.
Well, I don't have to. Do what you gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna break you 2 up. Do we need any further explanation on that, Article 15? Do we all understand where we're coming from on this?
So we're gonna vote no action?
That's entirely,
I would make a motion
up
based
to
on what we
you.
heard to vote no action.
do you wanna vote no action, or do you wanna vote further study on it?
Well, the motion hasn't been hasn't actually
I
been
know.
written.
So
I mean,
again,
that's what the motion is likely to be, but.
So you
Moderator,
wanna-
I will make a motion on Article 15 that our board takes no action vote.
Second.
Now, hold it, we're actually we wanna vote to approve or not approve it at this point,
We will not approve.
We're
and then
not
when it
approve.
comes up with further study, we'll approve that.
okay?
Right.
So you
How do you
want a
want
motion for disapproval? Is that a word?
Unfavorable, unfavorable
Unfavorable.
action.
Unfavorable.
No, we're doing approve and not approve.
Oh,
Not approved.
again.
Not approved.
Okay,
I'll make a motion on Article 15 that the board,
Not
Get-
approved.
unfavorable action.
okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
68800.
800.
Zero,
No, 008.
zero.
No, no, no.
No,
No, the way we worded it.
Zero, zero.
We are voting
No,
to,
we're not.
to disapprove this, or,
We approve not to approve.
yes.
That's right,
So rather than FA, it's AF.
whatever.
All right,
We're gonna be going.
I got one more little piece that I think we can get done here, and then.
Just before you go, we leave,
Go
the
ahead.
Board of Selectmen did vote on the Upper Cape Tech. I'm not sure if you got the notice or not, because Kelly was out.
No, I didn't get an update on.
And
the
we did
approval.
vote 4-0-0 to approve the budget after presentation.
Okay.
We did as well.
Okay.
It's in the paper, yeah.
Yeah, and that's all. We did, there was no other articles that we approved it or disapproved at that time.
I lost my own copy of something. Oh, okay. All right.
So that's Article 8 on the spring.
But we've already,
Yeah.
so you
We
voted
voted
for
on
there,
it.
so,
Yeah.
4-0-0.
4-0-0.
okay.
I'm gonna jump back to the, just to do an update on this Article 20 on the regular town
Just the
meeting.
regular spring one, not the special.
Yeah.
I gave you all a little email that was sent to me. I had a very nice phone conversation with Chief Ray Goodwin of the Onset Fire Department. And I asked him, he's very busy with his own budget, stuff right now for the Onset Water District, is that what you call it? So I asked him if he would write us something as to his opinion on the adoption of this. And this is what he brought forward, that he does support it. And he spoke with his fire prevention officer in Onset. And he doesn't, there is no properties currently that would fall under this. But there might be a question of some that might in the future, that are kind of like on the borderline of that situation.
They
Hold
have
on a
one
minute.
building that probably will fall under it when it's completed.
Yes, he was curious on that. I have not heard, David made contact with the inspectional services, and they were supposed to forward some information to us about, you know, who has jurisdiction over this, the reason for wanting to adopt it. And that, I haven't gotten that. I haven't heard from them at all.
And actually, Mr. Moore will be out tomorrow. He's caught the town hall plague as well. Yeah, that's,
All right.
he's been down there.
Madam Moderator, I have just a question on that. In the budget, can you say what you've done with inspectional services? Because when we had the presentation, it was like half a person, and we knew that we had to raise it at some point. The question is, this feels like one more thing we're putting in there that may tax them even further.
Do you have a copy of the state law?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, the state law
Because it-
doesn't have them in it.
Because in the last line, it tells you who is responsible.
It's the fire department.
Yes, this falls under, it falls under the, where's my original? This is what Chief Goodwin was explaining to me, that it falls under the fire. Yeah, public safety. Oh, fire prevention, it falls under the fire prevention part of this law. The law is much more extensive than this, okay? And this is just that, this 148 is the fire prevention portion of this law. So it is within both of the chief's jurisdiction, but like, you know, the Wareham chief had said to us that, you know, they can't just walk in and inspect somebody on it. It's really gonna come through whether somebody, you know, is doing a new construction or doing a renovation or you know, looking for a new occupancy permit for something, that these sorts of things may come up. Okay, I have no problem with it. I know there was a few people that had asked about it. David was very passionate about wanting to know about, you know, the inspectional services role in that. And this is where I am right now. So, do we need more information on this? Because I think I've beaten a dead horse on that one.
Well, does that say that the inspectional services they're already doing it anyway, so there's just an observation they make, and then they call the chief? I mean, somehow it feels like it's,
Well, on new buildings, the fire department has to do a smoke inspection. Maybe they're just gonna incorporate this with the inspection, they do that and charge another fee for us.
fire department has to sign off anyways.
Exactly.
In the whole
Any-
process with
any
the
new
building
structure.
thing. So if they're putting a sprinkler system and have to do it, the building department anyways has to certify, from the plumbing inspector has to certify,
I guess it
which is a
feels,
normal part of the thing, which they pay a fee for.
yeah, but it feels like, I mean, we were getting one thing from McDuffie, Chief McDuffie about it, and
But it's under, in other words, it's under theirs,
it's under theirs, right, that's what the law says.
and if someone is then, say they cite someone, they have to put it in, then they have to go to the building department, pull the permits, pay the fees, which is normal, which the town
That,
gets
that
its
I
normal
understand,
income.
the way the law's written, if he decides that they violate, it goes up to the state
So,
fire marshal, it's out of our,
Yeah, there's no expense to the town that would
No.
not be
well,
reimbursed.
the person who has to put it in there is,
Well,
but,
yeah, but there's no expense to the town as far as the process would be they do pay their fees, except would be the normal system kicks in.
I think the general point at this point is that there is nothing, none of this is going on at this point, at this moment. He did mention, because onset, oftentimes is called to that corner of Plymouth, okay? That there was recently an incident in Plymouth that would have fallen under this
Correct.
situation, okay? Onset was called to that, but it wasn't within their jurisdiction, it's just that they, because the way that little corner of Plymouth just kind of hangs out over here in Wareham, we think it's part of us, but it really isn't, it belongs to Plymouth. But at this point, there is nothing in this town that falls into this category, but they feel as though it may happen in the future, they just want the capacity to, yes, exactly, and there's, both are very, very passionate about, wanting the ability to make sure people are safe, so, go ahead, Dominic.
Well, you know, you're right, I mean, I got chastised by nothing. They come over for coffee in the shop all the time, and he wanted to know how dare that we would say that this could hurt tax revenue over life safety. He yelled at me up one side, upside the other. How's your board dare say that, how are you worried about tax revenue over saving life? Well, I heard that all day for 2 days, so I'll let it go with that.
We could do a lot of things that would make us safer, that would be economically unadvisable, so
But for
I
us to
just,
say that we would lose maybe tax
it's
revenue
not unreasonable
from-
to ask enough questions to actually
I
understand who
Right,
this applies
right,
to,
right.
and how it will be applied, and who will do the job, and I'm not even
No,
still
and
sure we
and
know.
I agree with you with that as
So-
far as doing the job, but we had mentioned, or someone had mentioned that would the person not do this business and it would hurt the town's tax revenue because of this law? And the chief goes to me, he says, well, you know, you can't take tax revenue over life safety, and that's what he said to me, that's all.
We make those trade-offs every day in every part of our lives.
I understand.
I don't want anybody
We
to
could
think
all
that
drive
we're,
fire trucks and be
that we're weighing
safer.
public safety against the tax dollar. But I mean, we were really, I personally was looking into the situation of wanting to define the law and what exactly it was covering, okay? Because certainly we don't want, you know, some innocent person to be thinking that they're doing the right thing and then find out that they're breaking the law later and it costs them a few $100,000 to install a system they really can't afford and maintain. And there's a lot of maintenance to these systems that are long-term. It's not just a matter of installation and you forget about it. There are a lot of carrying over expenses annually for these systems. So that's all we were looking at.
So-
We're not sacrificing safety for the dollar.
Just to understand what this covers, would it cover 6 townhouses connected together?
No.
wouldn't.
Let's not get
'Cause
back
it's
into
talking-
defining what a lodging house is. Those are individual homes,
Right.
okay?
it's a different thing.
It's a completely different situation. And even, the onset chief said to me that, you know, even if they got into a situation where they were looking at somebody that maybe had 4 or 5 people renting rooms or something, it's one of those deals where they need to let them know what they're doing, and that if you go beyond this, you would be subject to this law, okay? They certainly don't want to get involved with anybody, you know, worrying about people, just trying to take care of each other, and look out for their friends and their families.
So that's good, because this goes right back to inspectional services, which has to look at the plans before the permit's issued anyway.
Exactly, you know,
And
he
so
assured me
that's why we
this,
need that defined.
right,
What is it?
I can't tell you that, okay? That
No,
I
I'm
can't
just, I
tell you.
went back and looked at what does inspectional services do, that's, you know, there's a whole thing that they do.
Right, and I think we need to leave that into their parameter.
Right, we
That's-
need to
that's
hear from
their
them.
deal. No, I don't think I need to hear from them, because I think they're doing their job, Jeff.
Okay.
I don't. I personally don't think I need to hear from them. Because that's between them and the fire chief, as far as I'm concerned, both fire chiefs.
Then I think, let's.
I think I'm beating a dead horse on it.
Yep, so then, hold on, Madam Moderator, let's make a motion here. Let me get the right number.
It's 20 in the town meeting.
Article 20.
Article 20.
Article 20.
Yep.
Goodness. Madam Moderator, I would like to make.
I'm not moderator, I am Madam Chairman, that's the moderator over there. I keep getting that promotion, I like that
I'm
promotion.
sorry.
Hey, you'll get
I'm
paid.
sorry. Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion for favorable action on the spring town meeting, Article 20 as written.
It's on the regular town, oh, it's a spring town.
Regular
meeting.
town,
Okay,
it's
then
regular
that's-
spring
All
town.
right, I have a motion for favorable action, for approval of Article 20, petition for adoption of Mass General Law, Chapter 148, Section 26H. Do I have a
I'll
second?
it.
I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1? 2?
Yeah, I don't know enough information.
Okay. We have 6-2-0.
We never talked to the inspectors. They never,
Well, like I said, David put that out there, and that's as far as I got. I mean, I think it's great that
No, I know-
he
I
made
know.
contact with that, but the gentleman did not come across with the information.
Yeah,
And I
we
think
need-
this one's gonna be they're gonna beat each other up at town meeting, and I hope they're prepared for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of the 300 towns in Massachusetts, only 100 have it, and we don't have any buildings that qualify for it, so I don't see the need to rush into this thing until we really understand what the impact is.
Okay, so you can write the opposing article on that one, yeah?
I will.
You got that one? Okay.
Do we like the pro, honey?
Can you handle that?
I can handle it, I'll make the chief do it. Ah,
I'll give you a website. My son actually writes the laws for the
there you go.
NFPA.
All right, so, he'll be over for coffee tomorrow, you know, so. How's your vote?
Did you buy anything in the store?
No, just drinks my coffee.
Just coffee.
Alrighty then. Does anybody have anything else on these warrant articles? Because the rest are all money, things that we cannot do anything with at this moment. So, we are going to have to meet, I'm going to ask WCTV if they would pop their head out over here and tell me whether they are available next Thursday.
Bob, you awake back there?
He's working on it.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Are you
So is
available?
this room available next Thursday?
I can't speak to the room. I don't
How will I know
We
that
have
it's
the chairman and
room?
the town administrator here, can they tell us?
How about this? I'll clear it out.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Are you available, Mr. White?
So we will be meeting in this room on the 9th, April the 9th at 6:30. If you still have, recommendations to complete, brush up, edit, or otherwise, can you get them to Kelly as quickly as you can? She is kind of working on and offline, even though she's on vacation. But it does help her to get an idea of anything missing.
I have mine, how do I get them to her, dear?
Whatever you
Girls
want me to
can
pick
email,
them up.
does she have, I might be able to get the girls to send an email, you give me an email address for Kelly.
Okay,
She sends us stuff. She just
But
sends
I
it.
don't gotta get it.
he doesn't get that, that's okay.
Okay.
Send them to me, I'll give you an address, and then the girls can send them to me, and then I'll send them forward.
You home tomorrow, I'll call you?
Yeah,
I'll call you and you can give it to me.
you know my
The
number,
girls are in the office.
you know where to find me.
I know how to find you, baby.
Okay. So we're gonna move that to the Thursday, so everything needs to be done by Friday, unless we decide to print in-house, and I guess we'll decide that on Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
The board will be done on the 7th, whatever we have, whatever
Yeah.
whatever we can't do, we can't do.
okay. So Monday, it should go to print unless we decide to do it in-house. Reminder, our public hearing will be Wednesday, the 22nd, here in this room. And we'll do mock town meeting at that time, and
22nd?
the 22nd.
Just let
Yep.
them know that we're gonna put it in the house, and if it comes,
And
doesn't count. We're basing that on Kelly's saying it doesn't count.
town meeting is on the 27th.
And I will be returning on the 26th.
That's what I was.
Okay.
Just in time.
And you're all gonna hang out with me even if you're elected or when you're elected
Yep.
until at least that Wednesday?
Until that Wednesday, right? Do we,
May 1st?
May first?
oh, we don't have,
Okay.
So we can still go to town meeting.
Right.
Yeah, you just can't take off,
Right.
you just don't take oath of
We open
office.
till May
You wait
Yeah,
to
no,
take
but
oath of
Jan-
office until the last minute.
Gotcha.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's a good-
All right, do I have any liaison reports? You have something?
Mr. Sullivan says that he thinks because the warrants are so small, that it'll be cheaper and easier to print it
Yeah.
in-house.
Yeah, we voted,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
decide that.
But if we do that, then the April 9th date doesn't matter. 'Cause
It
Kelly
does
did-
for me. I plan on being done April 9th.
The problem is we won't probably have the budget done.
I don't wanna hear that.
All I'm trying to say is, if we do it in-house, we can go another week or so. and get
I
it done
would
in
like
alternative.
to discuss that on April 9th.
Okay,
I don't wanna be doom and gloom. I would like to, yeah.
You know what happens when you assume.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Rainbows and unicorns.
okay, but consider that, because we
We're
don't
gonna go
have
to
the issue of having to set it up
Switzerland
to be printed,
Decision.
because
You
it'll
know-
save us money too,
You
Tom.
know, I don't understand why they can't come to an agreement before that. It's in their schedule. By giving them the extra week,
It's not so much giving them an extra week. If we're gonna be able to print it ourselves and save money, and we can delay it a week anyways because of that, why not?
why do we want to delay it a week?
It's not delay, it's just getting it done. The board's gonna vote on the 7th. If Mr. Sullivan doesn't have the numbers, we can't vote.
Is it 1 week? I'm sorry, refresh my memory. It has to be available to the public 1 week prior to town meeting, am I correct? Is it 1 week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
April 27th, that's 14 days.
So my question is, the only thing that's holding you up is the school. Is it, am I correct?
No, I'm not gonna say that. We're getting adversarial on it. The school, we're working together, and you wanna,
We need more time, we need more time.
yeah, you know, it's,
Till the 9th, we don't know.
let's not go down a bad path on it.
Oh, say so.
I'm not,
Nobody's trying to go down a bad path.
The warrant can always be printed with whatever budget
Who's there?
is there.
yeah,
And then
can amend it.
if the budget isn't exactly the same as printed in the Finance Committee's report, the motion on the floor can be as printed in the handout, and you can go as much as that night and have a handout.
I don't like that idea.
I don't like it either,
happened once
but-
before, and it
It's
didn't work out very well.
It's very confusing.
Confusing to the body.
Yes,
Confusing to us, never
And
mind
that's-
them.
and that's why my
We're crossing
preference,
that bridge
hopefully-
yet. We're still working on it, let's work on it.
I'm hoping that the next meeting that they have, there will be a number that's presented that works for everybody. It's the school committee's prerogative, the superintendent's, as to how they're going to vote it. It's improper for me to tell them when.
It's still a work in progress. That's all I gotta say.
all right, as I said, we'll revisit that discussion on the 9th.
The other question I have is, we have 3 people who are running for sewer commissioner. I believe we've only got a response from actually none of the 3 of you for the meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Town Hall.
I will attend.
We're all
Okay.
attending.
10.
Thank you, because we only had 1 response, so they were getting kind of nervous.
At the town hall, what time?
7 o'clock. Are we gonna be upstairs on
Whereabouts at the
27?
town hall?
I think room 27.
27.
The large room across from the
Selectman's office, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Thank you.
The old CETA
I'm
office.
at the call.
I also have, Jeff and I have been talking about a few things with David Moore and some information. If you want, I can
Okay.
just give you some more information when you're done with your
6:30, can you say?
regular stuff.
Okay, I'm all set. Do I have any other business?
Marilyn, I had you down as a positive no matter what.
No matter what, I'm there.
Do I have any other business? You want this off the record or on the record?
No, it's fine, it's on the record. When
Okay.
David was here, and he's talked to us a year ago, actually 3 years ago when he first came on board, about ISO ratings, which has to do with the actual department versus, the fire. Insurance for your homeowner's insurance and stuff, you have two different ratings they work on. The main one is the fire insurance rating, which is if you're within so many feet of a fire hydrant, there's a rating number, and if you're so many feet away, it's another rating. Wareham's rating has been 4 on one, 8 on the other for a long, long time. It hasn't changed. The issue was that they come and do the rating for the building department every 5 years. The last one was done in 2012. So we're under that rating. I think the impression was because we only have a part-time director of special services, our rating would automatically have gone up. It's not the case. It would not change at all until they came back in 2017 and reviewed at that time. Our ratings have stayed the same. There has been no change. I also got from David, because he was having a little problem finding information. Jeff has a copy, actually, which I have here.
I could send it to everybody.
Right, which is the building enforcement. It's good reading. It's kind of complicated at times, but it's good to read.
It's complicated, but yeah.
But it gives you the information you need to know. So the bottom line to all this is, in 2012, if you remember, when we had our rating done, which I think is an 8,
8, yeah.
and I think it's from 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
We had I'm not going to use names, we had a building inspector here who was under contract that he had to get his ratings up in order to be a code enforcement officer within 18 months when he was hired by contract. It never got done. So when the town was rated in 2012, as far as FEMA compliance, et cetera, we probably had issues because the director of inspection services wasn't certified for a lot of things that they basically had to be approved. And that was an issue.
And how much does that cost us all?
I'm not going to get into that because
$400 each.
I just don't even want to think about what it costs, it's just in the things that happened during that time frame. The bottom line is, this happened, it's behind us, we don't have it there. Mr. Moore came in and worked full-time after that fact. So if he was there at all during that time, he was working full-time, so there'd been no difference in the rating. His part-time work actually covers our needs right now, and we're really fortunate to have him because he's done a great job for the town.
Yeah,
But the numbers themselves, and I think I sent to Jeff also, which I didn't realize, when the insurance company goes in and rates you, they don't care what your current status is for your building department for the ISO rating today. It's what year your house was built,
yeah,
which I had no idea. It threw me for a loop. So if you have a house built in 1960, the rating goes back to whatever it was in 1960.
I couldn't find where you're going to find that. It'd be interesting to ask Jeff, ask him.
Well, he pulled it out for us because he went because he was having problems, and as I said, I forwarded you that piece there.
There's got to be a website someplace.
Someplace, but so if you have a house built 10 years ago, the rating could have been higher or lower. But it does cost us money the higher that number goes. Thank you.
The point is, I mean, it's 2017, is we've got to think about it. Because he raised this when he presented the budgets, if you remember
Yeah,
that.
he raised it 3 years ago, so it's not new. We've talked about it
We
before.
raised it again when we went
Yeah,
through
no, we know what it is.
Yeah.
We-
He's a good guy,
He is.
Yeah.
really a good guy.
Okay,
Thank you.
any other business? Okay. So our next meeting will be on the 9th, Thursday, the 9th,
Thursday.
at 6:30 in this room. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Good night.